Hey again, everybody. Back again with our series on the Power Query ribbon. Last time we left off on the home ribbon in Power Query, I've got some new data. We left off at split column. Got some new data from Kaggle, a department store data set. I'll put a link to it in the description. I'm going to use it today. So we will select all with Control A on this table. Go to our Data tab, get data from table range. Launch Power Query. Taking my headers. Let's check our type. Revenue should probably be currency. So we'll fix that. Revenue goal should probably also be currency. We'll fix that. Replace current. Margin's okay. Margin goal is okay. Date, we'll get to in a moment. Sales quantity and number of customers. So click OK, and seller and department text. That all looks fine. So we have a query one here on our table called sales. Here and here, it's changed some type. We've changed some more. Our source is that table in my Excel workbook. So on the Home tab, I think we've gone through split column. The next thing we're going to look at is group by. I do a lot of my grouping in the pivot tables, but this is a very powerful tool inside Query. You could do it here if you weren't going to do pivot tables. You could just do group and query and load that back into Excel as a table. That could be your report. So the group by, let's go, what do we want to do? Let's do it by date. Do it by date. I want to do it by month. I'm going to split out just the month name for demonstration purposes. And I might be getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I'm going to go to transform date, month, name of month, change type. Now we just have January. I want to, now I'm going to go to group by month. So back to my home tab, group by. It's going to be an advanced group by. We're going to group by date. And then we're going to add a grouping for seller. And we're going to, our new column name, M sales, just month sales. And sum. And the column we're going to sum is revenue. So we're going to sum the seller's sales by month. Group it. Okay. Now I have Latasha Nascimento's January sales, each one for each salesperson. January, February, March, April, one for each salesperson. I've done a group by. I'm going to take this off and we're going to move along. You can group on anything, numbers, dates, times, set your calculations, sums, counts, maxes, mins, averages. That's how we do group by. So I'm going to take the grouping off. I'll leave that month extraction on. Back to my home tab. Data type. Well, we can do that here. And on the ribbon, we can do the same thing. You've seen that before. I use the buttons. Use first row as headers. If I brought my data over and the column headings somehow ended up in the first row, I can promote the first row of the headers. This isn't a case, but I'll just show you how it works. So now my headers are the first item in each of those fields. That's not what I want. I'm going to take it back off, back to where we were. Now, if I wanted to use my headers as the first row, move them down, demote them, and do that also. So now the first row is where my headers, and my headers are now generic column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Let's take that back off. Replace values. I just didn't like clothing. I just wanted to say clothes. I can replace it with clothes. Say OK. Replaced all of them, not just the one I was highlighted. We'll take that back off. Now, here's one, merge queries. We're going to need to close and load this to do merge, then append, then combine. So it's going to have my new sales query. I'm going to open it back up. Well, first I need to go to my department store data set. Over here I have another table called seller and the salesperson ID, sales ID. Table is called sales ID. I am going to now put that in Power Query. Data tab, Control A, the table range. And I don't really need to do anything. I'm just going to close and load it. Go back to my sales query. Then I'm going to say merge queries right here in the combine group. I'll just do merge queries. You can do it as new. Well, let's do it. Well, let's just merge them. Do it as a new one also. So here's my sales table. And it's going to ask me what I want to merge it with. There's only one other one. Sales ID. Now, here is you need to find a column. In the first one, it has the same values as the column in the second one. And then you select that column and the other column. What you're doing here is identifying a primary key, a unique identifier. You can't merge a table if they're not related with an identifier like this. Left outer is fine. There are other joins. That's a little more advanced. So is the fuzzy matching. For our purposes today, we're just going to select seller and seller from sales ID and sales and say OK. Now, you don't see anything happen with the sales ID. What you see is the sales ID column with a green table thing in it. If you go up here to this column header button, well, ask you what you want to keep from this table. Well, I've already got the seller name on my current table, so I'm not going to keep it. Just going to keep the sales ID. Use original column name as a prefix. Going to say OK. Sales ID dot sales ID. And now I know each person's sales ID also that I needed to put into this table. That's merge queries. Append queries. Well, let me close and load. And let's just say we had, first let's copy our headers. Sorry. Copy our headers. And take, I don't know, first 3 rows of data. Copy. Paste it somewhere outside the table here. Change the data up some. Say Joe Blow. Nancy Fancy. And Rod Stewart. Sorry, I'm just making stuff up. We'll keep electronics. We'll doctor these numbers a little. 9, 5, 6, 7, 4.98. Uh, 0. Well, that's enough. We don't have to change them that much. We're going to give them new sales IDs. We'll just pick something. AZ1 300 301 and 302. Okay. Now, going to make this a table. Control T. My table has headers. Table design. I'm going to call it Append 1. Control A. My data. Select Control A, didn't select it. Go to my data tab from table range. Gonna select Append queries. Table to append. Sales. Okay. Says it appended the query. And there they are right at the top of my list. So that's how you append queries. I think that's enough for this lesson. I've gone on long enough for today. We will go to combine files, manage parameters. Those two are kind of lengthy. You can finish up with data sources in the new query group. And that would be the end of the home tab. In the video after that, we will move to transform. Thanks for joining me for this one. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like it and subscribe, and join me again for the next one. Thanks, everyone.